So the question I would begin with is, which group are you in? Because I believe we could divide the world into three groups of people. And let's maybe begin with group number one. And I'm really qualified to talk about that group because I lived it for a long time. These are the people that are running on the hamster wheel and they just can't seem to get away. They can't get anywhere. They are just running and running and running. And I think you see this a lot where people are in a situation where they're working harder than they did before and actually getting less benefit from that. Or put it this way, they have a lower standard of living. We have people, 2-income families, 3-income families, 4-income families. They're just working, but they're never getting ahead. And I know because I started as a dishwasher in a pancake house. So I certainly know what it is to have the end of the month and not have enough money to pay your bills, and know what it's like to make your choices of what do you order in the restaurant from the right side of the menu instead of the left side of the menu, where you're high in debt, credit card debt. We're in a situation now here in the United States and rapidly duplicated around the world where we have the highest level of personal debt in human history, the lowest level of personal savings in human history, and just more people grinding it out. And I did that. I did all this stuff. I worked as the dishwasher, and then I became a cook, and then I was a waiter, and a host, and then a manager trainee, and then an assistant manager, and then I was going for my dream, of course, which was that I could be a restaurant manager. And finally it happened. So I was the manager of the Howard Johnson's restaurant on Layton Avenue in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I got to wear a tie, and I had a really big ring of keys. Okay? So you knew I was a big shot because of those keys. Well, I had keys to the liquor cabinet, I had keys to the walk-in, I had keys to the storeroom, all of those kind of things, right? So I thought that was the American dream. Work hard, get promoted, get to the top job. But then I got there and I realized this is not the American dream, this is the American nightmare. Because now I got grill cooks who make more than I do because they get overtime and I don't. And I went to the point where now I'm working 60 or 70 hours a week and getting paid for 40. And grinding it out. So I found out this first group of people is not the one you want to be in. You want to be in the second group of people. Now, how would we categorize these people? I would say these are the people that are winning the rat race, but they're living like a rat. Okay? And they may have a good job. They may have a good title. More often than not, they're probably an entrepreneur who owns their own business. They might be an attorney. They might be a doctor. They might be a corporate vice president. Or they may be, God forbid, a restaurant owner. Because that's what I did. To graduate from the first group, I thought, well, you know what I got to do? I got to work hard, play by the rules, save my money, and become my own boss, own my own restaurant. And of course, that's what I did. And I bootstrapped it. A partner and I, we bought a place from a guy. And we didn't really have the money, but we scraped together everything we could. We bought this place, and what a disaster this was. Fortunately, very fortunately, in the end, he let us give it back to him. And just said, okay, if you give me the restaurant back, I won't charge you all of the money that you owe me. And that was like a godsend to us. And that was the first time I did it. The second time I did it was the same thing. I bootstrapped the thing, couldn't really afford the taxes, kept getting further and further into debt, working harder and harder. Only now I'm working 90 hours a week. And I had that restaurant seized by the IRS, okay, and auctioned off at the courthouse. So that was my next real excursion into the entrepreneurial market. And I think you see, because here's the thing I want you to think about, particularly those of you who are here evaluating the agile business opportunity. Think back to this category number one people. The people who are running on the hamster wheel. Here's the question to think about. If you had a business that showed people how they could escape from that hamster wheel, how lucrative would that be for you? And then, of course, think about how many people do you know in the category 1? And then think about category 2. How many people do you know in category 2? I mean, how many entrepreneurs do you know who don't own a business, but the business owns them? See, because what I found out when I went into owning the restaurant was I used to go 6, 8, 9 weeks in a row without getting a day off. And you know what a day off looked like? And I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs out here who are in similar kind of situation. My day off looked like go in at noon, do the schedule, do the inventory, do the ordering, do all the busy work stuff, and then if the whole night crew showed up at 4 or 5 o'clock, then I could take the rest of the day off and do like real people and go to a movie or go to dinner or something with friends. Of course, there's only one problem with that. When you're an entrepreneur, you don't have any friends. You can't afford any friends. You don't have any time for friends. You know what I'm talking about? People say, well, like when I worked for the restaurant chain, right, I became their problem store manager. When they had a store losing money, they sent me there to fix it. Well, I lived in 18 cities in 5 years. People say, how do you raise a family? A family? I couldn't raise a house plant, right? Then you get in the entrepreneur thing, you own your own business, and then your friends call you, let's go to dinner, They call you so many times, you turn them down so many times, they stop calling you. So how many people do you know who are in that situation? They have sacrificed their health for their business. They've sacrificed their family for the business. How many people, they're dropping their kids off at the baby jail in the morning. They're going in, working 18 hours a day, picking them up at night. So those poor kids, some of them couldn't pick their mother out of a police lineup. So they sacrifice their relationships, their family, their friendships for what? For what? That's not the group you want to be in. And I know because I was in that group too. So I can tell you where you want to be is in this third group of people. And this is the people who live their dream lifestyle. These are the people who have the money, the income, and they have the time with their family. And they have the time with their friends. And they have all of the wonderful things that make life wonderful. They make their life choices based on the choices, not the money thing. See, think about being able to decide where you want your kids to go to school, where you want to go on vacation, what kind of car you want to drive, what your dream home looks like, what your perfect day looks like, how you would contribute to social causes and charity and other things that are important to you. That's the lifestyle that we're talking about. That's the lifestyle we can offer people with Agile Enterprises. So if you're evaluating the business, I want you to think about that. What would it mean if you had a business where you could show those hamster wheel people how they could get out of that and get into category 3? And all those category 2 people you knew, if you could show them how to get out of category 2 and get into category 3. How lucrative would that be? That's the dream lifestyle we can build with Agile. What are some of the benefits of the business? If you're evaluating, we probably want to look at that. Some things I think make the business really special. Great tax benefits. If you love to travel, like I love to travel. I've been traveling all over the world with Agile Enterprises, and you could have the same opportunity. You pick the hours you work with. You choose the people that you work with. And then a couple of benefits that I think are really special is this. First of all, there's an unlimited income potential. If you say, hey, I want to make a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 a month with Agile, because that would really make a difference in my life. Let me tell you something. You can do that like falling off a log with Agile. It's that easy to make a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 a month. And don't kid yourself. We're going to talk about some big numbers here today. We're going to talk about amazing lifestyles. But let's be realistic. If we go back to those category 1 people, there's a lot of them that $500 a month or $800 a month would make a dramatic, amazing difference in their life. And you can get that with Agile, right? Now, if you say, no, I'm looking for something a lot more serious than that. I'd like to make $5,000 a month. I'd like to make $10,000 a month. Say, hey, $10,000 a month, that'd be $120,000 a year. $120,000 a year, we could live amazing. We could be in a nice house. I could send the kids to private school. We could put some money in the IRA. We could put some money in the kids' college fund. And if you want to make $10,000 a month with Agile, you can do that. Or if you say, no, Randy, I want to be serious as a heart attack. I want to make $40,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $80,000 a month. You know what? You can do that with Agile as well. When I say unlimited, I really mean it's unlimited. You can build this thing as big as you want to build this thing. You're going to make the choice what you do with that. Okay, now the second, I told you there's two really special things with this. I think the second really big special thing about this is the fact that you become successful by helping other people reach success. And that is really something extraordinary. Because let me tell you something. Here's the interesting thing. Now you heard I was in category 1. I was in category 1 for about 30 years of my life. I quote unquote graduated to category 2, and I use the term graduated loosely. But one of the things I did when I graduated to category 2 eventually was I learned how to make money, and I learned how to hang on to money. I learned how to create wealth. So when I came on to Agile Enterprises, I was actually already wealthy. See, I would love it. Wouldn't it be a lot more dramatic if I had this rags to riches story I could tell you that I was sleeping under a bridge and Eric Worre walked by and he threw me a gel pack and it would be so much more dramatic. But I can't tell that story because that's not true. I was actually pretty wealthy when I came to Agile. But you know what was missing in my life? The people around me were not wealthy. I had people in my family that I love that needed money. I had people I go to church with that had financial hardship. I had guys I play softball with who I knew wanted more out of life. 2 of which you just saw up here about 5 minutes ago getting a $5,000 check for going corporate director. Guys who had never been in the business before. Going corporate director, getting that. So, see, that's what attracted me. I said, now I have wealth, but now I can offer that wealth to people around me. You want to know who the first person I sponsored into Agile Enterprises was? My kid's sister, Lisa. And you know why I sponsored her? Because her husband was dying. Had a brain tumor. He had had it for like 5 years. He had fought the good fight, guys, but we knew it was a question of months. And they had 2 beautiful young kids. And you know what? Those kids were not set up. And I knew that I could put my sister in the business and set her up and set those kids up for life. And you know what? That's exactly what's happened. They never have to work again the rest of their lives. So what we've got is a business. It's not the same like running a restaurant. It's not the same like owning a beauty salon. It's not the same like a retail store. It's not the same as working in corporate America. We have a business that offers a dream lifestyle, but more importantly, gives us the opportunity to offer that lifestyle to people who are important to us, the people that mean something to us. We pick those people. We work with them. So when you think about this business, if you get involved, do some critical thinking about who you're going to put in the business. Because you know what? You're going to be going on cruises with them. You're going to be winning trips to Hawaii with them. You're going to be going to events like them and just traveling the world, seeing the great beaches all around with these wonderful people that you've brought into your business. So this is not your usual business, okay? We've got something very, very special. Now, again, I'm sure if you're evaluating this, you're probably getting very analytical and you want to know, what's the demand of this business? What's the potential? What are the economic factors that are driving that? And here's what I want you to really, really get if you're here evaluating the business. At this exact moment in the space-time continuum, An extraordinary number of factors have come together at one place and one time. The fact that Agile Enterprises just launched last October in the United States, launched Canada a couple of months ago, launched Australia, New Zealand the end of last, February or March, in pre-launch operations in about 40 different countries right now. The fact that that's what's on the table right now, that Agile has an extraordinary innovation and compensation plans, probably the biggest one in 20 years. Some societal factors, some lifestyle factors, some diet factors, the leadership which is assembled. What you're going to see is we have this perfect storm of opportunity which is taking place right at this moment with Agile Enterprises. So I want to explore that a little bit with you guys and talk about what some of these factors are that, because it's easy. I think you could go to any business presentation and there'll be a lot of people who are excited and tell you, yeah, we're an exciting company and this is the time for us. But this isn't just rah-rah hype here. This isn't just wishful thinking here. There's some facts and figures and situations that are taking place right now, making this opportunity as extraordinary as it is. So let's talk about one of them, which is this. 90% of what you eat on a daily basis is fake food. Okay? It's not real. See, Cheetos, Fritos, and Doritos, they're not real. It's not real food. Even though it says made with real cheese on the label. Because see, cheese is not real food. And let me tell you, as sad, as sorry, as sorry as I am to tell you this, Krispy Kreme is not real food. Cinnabon is not real food. Cocoa Krispies and Fruit Loops and Count Chocula, they're not real food. See, we have convinced ourselves that cake and cookies and chips are real food, but they're not. So what happens? We have evolved into the most overfed but malnourished society in human history. Here's the proof. Saw those hamburgers? Look at these cookies. Do you remember what? See the cookie on the left? That's what it used to look like. You see now, you can go into a bakery, they got cookies the size of a Frisbee. Okay? Now, when I started my illustrious career at Mr. C's Pancake and Steakhouse on Midvale Boulevard in Madison, Wisconsin, we had 3 sizes of soda drinks. An 8-ounce small, a 10-ounce medium, and a 12-ounce, which was the large. Now, have you gone through a drive-thru window in any fast food place anymore and see what the small is? What the medium is? Or maybe you saw this? Maybe you saw this. 64-ounce, 84-ounce, they got a bucket of soda. What's the result of all this? Because, of course, we have these foods, these fake foods, right? Because we've convinced ourselves that cake and cookies and chips are real food, but they're not real food. They're fake food. And see, fake food doesn't have vitamins, minerals, enzymes, fiber, antioxidants, protein, the stuff we need to be nourished. So what's the result of all this overfed but malnourished? We're getting supersized. We are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're eating more and more and more. Now, why is this happening? This is happening because our body's saying, hey, I'm not getting the nutrients. You need to feed me. You have to give me that. So we're hungry. We eat more. But of our vitamins and our minerals and our enzymes and all of those kind of things, how much do you think you're getting from one of those 64-ounce buckets of soda? Do you notice? Now, see, if I remember when I grew up, my best friend was a guy named Ed. Now, Ed was a big boy. Even in 5th grade, he was a big boy. Well, Ed was the only guy I knew who could go to Burger King and eat a whole Whopper. Right? And my friend, we said, come on, we're going to Burger King. Ed is going to eat a whole Whopper. Well, do you know today, if you go into a Burger King right tonight, they will be having a special for a double Whopper value meal. a triple Whopper value meal. And now they have these BK stackers. You can get 4 pieces of beef with 4 slices of cheese on them. You get all the cholesterol you need in a day, in a half a day, in a week. You can get in one. Have you seen their ginormous omelet sandwich they have in the morning? 3 or 4 eggs, 2 slabs of cheese, some slabs of bacon, some slabs of sausage. They ought to just have chest paddles at the door. So we are just becoming super. Now, how does this come about and take place? Well, an interesting thing, because we know this is the stuff we're missing. Vitamins, minerals, enzymes, this is what we're not getting from our food. But interesting thing has happened. Because if you think about it, of course, when I grew up, you had the tobacco companies which were trying to sell kids like me cigarettes, which they were very successful. I was smoking 2 packs a day when I was 16 years old. I was a chain smoker for 20 years of my life. Interesting thing happened. That got outlawed. They couldn't market to kids anymore. But over the last 10 years, the tobacco companies have been systematically buying the fake food companies. So a company like Philip Morris, which you would equate with the Marlboro Man, doesn't have to sell cigarettes to your kids anymore because they could sell them Kool-Aid slushies and Jellos and Rich crackers and Lifesavers and Oreo cookies and all kind of addictive foods. And I do mean this term literally, addictive foods, because you will know there are actually physiological factors that take place when you eat these fake foods. They are so loaded with salt, so loaded with yeast, so loaded with refined sugar that you remember the potato chip company? They used to have the thing about nobody could eat just one. Well, of course, that innocent little expression has turned into reality. Now, where do we go from here? Well, of course, we all say we should all take vitamins and minerals. We should supplement. But why doesn't that happen? Well, it doesn't happen, of course, because I think there's millions of people like myself who started taking vitamins 25 times and quit taking vitamins 25 times. Why? They smell bad, they taste bad. I would take vitamins. You read a report and I say, I got to take vitamins. I know it's good. And then you swallow them. And 4 hours later, you're still tasting that metallic, taste in your throat. You need water. They're inconvenient. And I bet every single person in this room has seen the reports or the TV shows or read the newspaper articles about the thousands of tons of undigested vitamin tablets they find clogging up the sewage treatment plants in the filters all over the world and municipalities everywhere. Okay? So that's the reality. Most people are not taking supplementation, and they're confused about which to take, and much of what they're taking is not really helping them. Now, of course, we all know we should plant a garden in our backyard, and we should grow our own organic produce, and we should sing Kumbaya, but what's the reality? How many people are actually going to do that? Okay? When I grew up, a mother used to start cooking a turkey at 10 o'clock in the morning, and she would cook it all day so the family could get together at 6 o'clock at night and eat dinner, right? 8 hours she'd be cooking a turkey. What happens today? Mom is working in the day, Dad is working in the day. They both might have a nighttime job. Mom gets some processed, alleged turkey slices from Oscar Mayer, which just happens to be owned by Philip Morris. She puts these processed turkey slices in the microwave for 90 seconds, and she wonders why it's taking so long to cook dinner. Okay? This is the reality. The marketplace is getting busier and busier. Lifestyle is so frantic, so hectic, so busy that it's not going to go back to those days. So we need an answer to that solution. Millions of people need an answer. See, carrot cake does not equal eating a carrot. Okay? Sorry, folks, doesn't get it. Here's the answer. Here is what is driving this business, this amazing scientific breakthrough called suspension gel technology. This addresses those issues, those societal factors, those trends that we have talked about. This amazing breakthrough is what's driving this business. The fact that we have the perfect product at the perfect time for what's going on in the world today. Now, let's look at it. What Agile has done is they have taken nutrients and suspended them into great tasting gel. Now, they've done this for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is, of course, assimilation. You understand, if you get a vitamin capsule with they take thousands of pounds of pressure to create that vitamin capsule. What's the odds that you're going to be able to assimilate that versus having some nutrients suspended in a gel? So that's the first thing is the assimilation. The second thing, of course, is just the convenience, the practicality. And the third thing is the taste. It actually tastes good. It's convenient. It works for our lifestyle. So take this product. Our first product is called Min. This is a Vita-Mineral Power Pack. This is a product. Every person in the world needs one of these every day. Now, if you're here evaluating the business, I want you to think, what would it be worth to you if just you got a few cents every time somebody ripped open one of those packets? Product number 2 is called Exo. Exo, what an extraordinary product, because this is the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. Now, why is that important? Because fruits and vegetables are where we get our antioxidants. Now you say, well, what's the big deal with antioxidants? Antioxidants fight free radicals. Free radicals are the bad cells, the renegade cells. They cause your teeth to decay, your bones to break down, your organs to deteriorate. That's why your skin wrinkles. See, as your body ages, its ability to manufacture antioxidants gets lower. So again, here's a product everybody in the world needs every day. Because how many people actually had 5 servings of fruits and vegetables today? And no, strawberry Pop-Tarts do not count. Okay? So again, here's a product everyone in the world needs every day. Now this product, this is amazing. This product is called Umi. Now Umi it's a Japanese word for sea, which is very appropriate because this product comes from the sea. It's actually based on algae. Now, not just any algae, because I see some of you guys are saying, well, I was fishing last weekend, I saw some algae in the... No, this is not that algae. This is algae, which comes from a couple of special places in the world. One of which is off the coast of Norway, one of which is off the coast of Japan. Now, why do they go to these remote spots in the world to get this algae? Because it has the highest concentration of the active ingredient here, which is called fucoidan. Now, for you skeptical types who say, well, I need to know the science. I need to know, do these products really work? Let me give you some homework. You go home tonight and you get on the internet and Google fucoidan. Fucoidan. And what you're going to see is you will see literally hundreds of studies on the efficacy of this ingredient. Basically, it's food for your immune system. It's great to feed the respiratory system. It's great to feed the digestive tract. I mean, you just see study after study after study. This is just, here's another product. Everyone in the world should be on this product every day. Okay, next product. This one is called Om. Now, Om, this is an American word. It means cash. Okay? Now, why do I say it means cash? Well, because this product is for severe energy. This is for mental focus and physical energy. And this is for all the people. And you think about this, particularly you guys evaluating the business. How many people do you know who are absolutely jacked up on caffeine? And ephedrine and ephedrine and all those nasty stimulants. And their heart is pumping and their head is pounding. You know how many people you know like this? They gotta have their Starbucks in the morning. And then at 9:30 it's time, like I'm in Miami. 9:30 it's cafe con leche time. 11 o'clock, cafe con leche time. 1 o'clock, cafe con leche. 3 o'clock, they have this all day long. And then there's the hardcore addicts. Red Bull, Rockstar. You know, people guzzling those, or the 8 Diet Pepsi a day crowd. You know those people, right? Here's a product, because you know what all those products do? They overstimulate your central nervous system. This amazing product helps your body convert carbohydrates to energy. So it doesn't stimulate your central nervous system. This is natural. You saw a couple of the guys I play ball with. We take this on our softball tournaments. Okay, you get in the loser's bracket in one of those tournaments, you could play 8 games in a day. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. There's no break. You go one after the other until you lose or you win the tournament. So you could play 8 in a row. So this product, it's amazing. If you're up late on the 15th of April, you're doing your taxes, you're cramming the night before for an exam, the mental focus that this will give you and the physical energy is amazing. And of course, it's sustained energy. It's not that central nervous system kind. It's the natural energy from good causes, okay? Next product, again, another huge product. I mean, think of the market potential for this, because this product is an appetite suppressant. Now, you notice I didn't say it's a diet product. Now, why I didn't say that? Because we know that diets don't work, right? Because what happens when you deprive yourself? You get cranky. You feel lethargic. Your metabolism slows down. You put up with it as long as you can put up with it, and then all of a sudden you just be at your low point, and you'll be driving down the street, and there'll be a Krispy Kreme with that hot donuts now sign flashing, and all of a sudden your car's going to have alignment problems, isn't it? Right? This is really, diets don't work because you can't deprive yourself. See, this is not a diet product. This is a product, the dosage on this is 2 a day. Take 1 before lunch, 30 or 45 minutes before lunch, 1 30 or 45 minutes before dinner. If you do that, you will feel full sooner. You will eat less, and more importantly, you won't have the hunger cravings. You won't go and need to binge because you'll feel full, because you will be full. And let me tell you something else extraordinary about this product. This product helps your body. It reduces its ability to store fat. Now, how important is that? Looking at the reality of the marketplace and how many of us are being supersized and the kind of portions that we're eating. And let me tell you, I saw this firsthand. You know, we talked about the ability to travel in this business. Well, I actually won a cruise with Agile a couple of months ago, and Eric was there, and Tim and Julie were there, and Billy and Wes, and Melanie, and Tony and Sarah, and Ivan, and a lot of cool people we got to hang out with for a week. But I didn't know they feed you 8 times a day on these cruise ships. I didn't know they had self-service ice cream cone machines every 15 feet. And Melanie Mills was going to keep eating ice cream cones in front of me all day long. I'm blaming this on Melanie. Okay, so I get on the ship. I embark as a passenger. A week later, I disembark as cargo. So what do? I take 1 of these before lunch. I take 1 before dinner. Within a week, I'm back at my fighting softball weight. This product is just flat out amazing. And let me tell you, when we talk again, if you're evaluating the business, we look at the market potential. What would a couple of cents every time somebody got one of these? Everyone in the world needs Umi every day. Everyone in the world needs Min every day. Everyone in the world needs, how many people need the Om right now? And then you look at this product, and you know where I really thought about it? Is the flying around the last couple of weeks. Ever since they unfoiled this terrorist plot, and then you couldn't check deodorant onto planes anymore. You can't check your toothpaste. If you fly from London, you couldn't even check anything, not a laptop, anything. Well, you know where this is going? By the time they get finished, we're going to all be flying with no checked luggage, and everybody's going to have to be naked. Now, picture this. You're on an airplane with 300 naked people. You think about the market for this product. Here's a product. Do you know 21 million people in this country have arthritis? Millions more have all kind of joint issues, cartilage issues. This is one of, I think, the single most amazing product that has ever been developed for these kind of issues, because it's the only one. You've probably heard of MSN as a great treatment, or not a treatment, just something that they recommend you take if you have any of those kind of joint issues. The MSN is in there. You might have heard take the glucosamine. Big, multi-billion-dollar market. glucosamine, whatever that word is. I'm a high school dropout. What do you want? That word is in there, okay? So you don't have to be smart to do this business. You just got to be extremely sexy looking. So, what's the third one? Chondroitin, and celadrin, right? So 4 of the most amazing ingredients, 4 individual products that people go out and they spend billions of dollars on. Agile is the first company in the world to put all 4 in one product, put it in a gel pack, and make it taste decent. Imagine the potential for that. Finally, our 7th product, another one just launched today, protein. Do you know more than half the people are deficient in protein? And you know when we talk about all those supersized people, you know what a big issue for a lot of them is? Because they don't get enough protein in their diet. And it's just one of the things I've learned. If I eat a lot of protein, if I'm eating egg white omelets and chicken breasts and things, I can eat like a horse. But let me be eating too many carbs, and man, it's just immediate fat. It's immediate, you know what I mean? So protein is one of the most important elements that we're not getting with all the fake food. Now, that gives you an idea of the individual products. Here's what I want you to think about if you're evaluating the business. I want you to look at how this works for today's lifestyle. Because these are products, you put them in your bat bag, you put them in your tennis bag, in your purse, in your car, in your desk at work, wherever you are in the world, you can take these products with you. You know, products like the Min, the Exo, the Umi, they're best taken with meals. But how many meals do we eat out? How many drive-through windows do people go through? With these products, it make it work for that. A product like the Ohm, you can have it on the tennis court. You can have it on the golf course. A product like the Flex, you can have that wherever you are, whenever the situation warrants it. These are products that work for today's lifestyle. Now, a couple other things that you ought to be very important to think about, again, if you're looking at the business. Number one, this is a whole new product category. Never existed before. Agile didn't invent nutrition. They didn't invent wellness. What they invented was a whole new delivery mechanism. And you know what? It's like when they took Listerine and put it into breast strips, they basically doubled their sales. When someone had the idea and say, hey, what about if we put wheels on a suitcase so you don't have to schlep them through the airport? I mean, how many suitcases do you see now without wheels? Think next time you're in the airport or maybe flying home from here, just count how many suitcases go by and think if you're getting a couple of cents every time somebody bought one of those suitcases. The other thing to keep in mind is Agile is the first mover in the marketplace. And the first mover in the marketplace is always the one that captures the greatest part of the market share. Now, let's look at what would it cost you to get started in the business, what would it look like to do the business, and then I actually want to go through and talk about the money, what the income potential is, and how you make money in the business. Let's look at the first option. Now, this is for the people who really aren't looking for a business. You're here tonight because you had to be. You know who you are. And you're here out of obligation. And maybe you've got a great job or a great business and you make lots of money and you've got a great lifestyle. And you're just here because someone said, no, I really want you to be here. I really want you to see what you're doing. So you're not looking for a business, but you've already figured out, hey, those products would be amazing. I could use that joint one. I could use the Min. I could use the Fit. I could lose some weight, right? Or, and this is the other option here, is some of you are here and saying, well, you know, I don't really want to build a big network marketing business, but I'm a personal trainer and every one of my clients should be on those products. Or maybe you're a chiropractor or a massage therapist or some other kind of wellness professional who thinks, hey, every person in my practice should be on these products. So if you would like to do the retailer option, you can do this for a $250 package. You get 4 boxes of product, some of the brochures and business building material, and you are good to go. And this is a business you could do in a couple of hours a month, and you could make a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 a month doing that business. Okay? Now, second option, this is the serious one. This is the one most of the people in this room are doing, and we're assuming you came tonight because you're interested in that type of thing. This is the executive, the business model. Now, this costs about $1,000 to get started, and an ongoing of about, we're going to say you were on a regular auto ship of about 4 boxes of product a month. So figure that like was your rent. You had a $250 a month overhead, and it was $1,000 to get started. That's going to give you 16 boxes of product. So you've got some revolving inventory for the people you introduce to the business. You've got some samples to run the business with. You've got some brochures. You've got 10 of our recruiting packages. And most importantly, it qualifies you for all 8 ways in the Agile compensation plan. It also gets you something called 3 income centers. Now, you don't know what that is at the moment, but I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. Basically, it's an opportunity for an additional $50,000 a month worth of income that you could earn with this. Now, what would the business look like if you did this business model? I mean, what would you do all day? Well, it takes about 10 to 15 hours a week to do the business. One night a week, you'd probably be at a presentation like this, which might be in a hotel in your hometown, and we call it an Agile business briefing. They usually, a traditional one goes for about an hour. Then you'd get there half an hour before to meet your friends and your guests. You'd be there a little afterward to answer people's questions, get the people signed up who are ready to start. Figure in the travel time, you could say it was 3 hours to do that. One night a week, you'd be doing something like this in your home or someone else's home, what we call a private business reception. It's kind of this presentation, but very informal, very low key. It's just a chance for people to get an overview of the business. One night a week, we do a leadership training call in my line. Some of the other lines do a webcast training. But basically, it's like about an hour a week training on how to do the business successfully. So now we're up to about 7 hours. What do you do for the other 3, 4, 5 hours? You'd be handing out our recruiting packs. We've got some recruiting emails you send out. You'd be responding to emails, inviting people to one of the private receptions of the business briefing. That's what the day would look like. Okay? So you don't have to be a sales type. You don't have to be a pushy person. You don't have to have a college degree. I'm living proof of that. You don't have to have a bunch of experience. The people you've seen across this stage today have already demonstrated that. What you need is a dream and a willingness to trade 10 to 15 hours a week to get that dream. Be coachable and follow our system. Now, if you do that, you have the opportunity to profit from the Agile compensation plan. And guys, this is the most lucrative compensation plan that's ever been done in network marketing. There's 8 ways that you make money with this. So I'm going to actually sketch them out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an overview. I'm going to run through this quickly. I don't expect you to memorize it all or know all the minutia or the details. I want you to get the big picture, the concept, okay? And then I'm going to go through all 8 pretty quickly, but I'm going to concentrate on the last 2 because that's where most of you guys are going to make most of your money. Okay, first way you earn is retail profit. And I think that's pretty simple. Everybody understands. You're going to buy the products at wholesale. You're going to market them at retail. There's a 20% profit margin. You put that in your pocket. Simple enough. Second way you earn is called fast start commissions. Now this is huge because what this is some special commissions from $35 to $200 that you earn when you introduce new people to the business based on the volume they produce. Now why that's important is go back to where we started. Remember the category 1 people we talked about? Well, we say, hey, if somebody's really struggling and they need to make money and they want to get off that hamster wheel, but it costs $1,000 to get started at the executive level, that could be a stretch for some people, couldn't it? In fact, a great number of the people that I've introduced to the business actually had to borrow the money or put it on a credit card to get started. Well, what the Fast Start Commission does is it allow you to make some money right away. So I have people who made $1,400, $1,600, $1,800, $2,000 their first partial month in the business, and that Fast Start Commission is the reason why. Now, the third way you earn is the Agile Executive Bonus. Now, what this is some transitional money. And it's a kind of a complicated system, so I won't drive you nuts with the details. But basically, they take 3% of all the company sales worldwide, they put them in a pool, and they divide them up amongst the people who qualify at that level each month. Well, basically, it's about $2,000 to $3,000 in transitional money that you earn between here, when you first start out, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is where the big money in the plan is. So $2,000 to $3,000 in transitional money. Now, 4, 5, and 6, these are what I'd call the perks. right? Every job has a perk, right? They got paid vacation, or they get personal days, or you get a corner office or something. Well, Agile has these perks too. The first one is pretty cool. It's the Agile expense allowance. And what this is, you get up to the rank we call senior director, and the company's going to send you $500 a month to help you grow your business. Get to the next rank, it goes to 1,000. Next rank, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. It actually goes up to $3,000 a month for this expense allowance. You don't have to save receipts. You don't have to submit a report. They just figure, hey, if you get to that rank, you're going to be spending money building your business. We're going to send it to you $500 to $3,000 a month, and you spend it however you want. Number 5, this is my favorite, the Agile Free Car Fund. Okay? Now I'm into cars, see, so I like this. You get senior director, they give you $500 a month to buy any car you want. Corporate director's $1,000. The next one is $1,500. The level I'm at right now, I get $2,000 a month to buy any car I want, and it doesn't have to be pink. As a matter of fact, I just went out 2 weeks ago and I bought a Bentley GT, which is the sweetest car I have ever driven. So now to give you I mean, every day when I wake up and I go downstairs, I say, do I want to take the Vet? Do I want to take the Viper? Or do I want to take the Bentley? Okay? $500 to $3,000 a month for a car. And then the sixth way to earn is the Agile Free Travel Fund. Now this is a pool, just like the other one. You qualify and you get a share, and this share is assigned a point value. I don't know all the details. All I know is in January, you could be in Hawaii with Glenn Jensen and the Agile corporate team paying for your trip. Okay? Now, some of you all in Florida or California, maybe that's not a big deal. But if you live in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, let me tell you, being in Hawaii in January is a very big deal. And I'm not even talking about St. John and New Brunswick, okay? Pretty cool thing. You could, every year, every January, we go somewhere special. We're going this year to Maui, to the Grand Wailea Resort, which has a spa about the size of Cleveland. Okay? I've been in this hotel 6 different times. It's simply amazing. Okay. Now, 7th way you earn is the Agile Team Volume Commission. Now, these two, remember, 7 and 8, I said pay personal attention, special attention, because this is where a lot of you all are going to make a lot of your income. Here's how this works. Here's you with Agile. Now, I bet at some point in your life you probably went to somebody's living room or somebody's hotel room, and they got a whiteboard and they drew a circle with you in the middle of it. Is that a safe assumption? Okay, here's a little different. With Agile, it's you, and you. Because remember, I told you, if you come in at the executive level, you get 3 income centers. Well, this is where this comes into play. So now you look for people who are interested in building the business, right? People who have a dream, they'd be willing to trade 10 or 15 hours a week to live that dream. Becky wants to do it, you put her here. Mark wants to do it here. Julio goes here. Danny goes here. Mark goes there. Nancy goes there. Jenny goes there. Fred goes there. Frank goes there. You build down the left side and the right side because you got these 2 different sides, right? Now, if you've been in network marketing, by the way, you probably look at this and say, oh, this must be a binary plan. No, perish the thought. What you are witnessing tonight is a revolutionary innovation in compensation plan design. This is called the Quadra Plan. What Agile did is they looked at the 4 types of successful compensation plans in network marketing. They took the best elements of each of those 4 plans and they left out the bad stuff. So they love the idea of this just having 2 sides, like a binary. Because the way this works is everybody just builds a left side or a right side. So what does that mean? Well, if somebody sponsors 10 people in the business, they have a left side and a right side. Where did the other 8 go? Somewhere under the left or the right. Billy and Wes, how many people have you sponsored now? 48 people. They got a left side and a right side. Where did the other 46 go? They had to go somewhere in the right side or the left side. Randy Schrader, what's the number you're up to? 150 something. Okay? Where did the 148 something go? on a left side or a right side. So what this means, you have a very viable probability of having people being placed spillover in your organization. And it also means that whenever you join the business, there's already a line of people above you who have a vested interest in your business success. Now, let's go back to this team volume commission and how this comes into play. Every month, at the end of the month, they look at your two lines, they add them up, and you have a greater leg and a lesser leg. Meaning every month, one's going to have more volume than the other. So let's suppose this one has 15,000 this month, this one has 14,000. Team volume commission, they're going to pay you 10% of the lesser leg. So if you had 14,000, you'd make $1,400 in your team volume. If you had 50,000, you'd make 5,000. If you had 100,000, you'd make 10,000. If you had 200,000, you make 20, and it actually pays you 10% up to 250,000 that you can earn. So you can actually max that out at 250,000, and you make $25,000 a month. Now, guys, here's the thing you need to know about this 25,000. It's residual money. Now, residual, that's a big word. What does that mean exactly? Well, it comes from Latin. It means every month. Okay? You build this team volume commission, and you get it to maxed out. You got $25,000 that comes every month. Now you say $25,000 a month, residual, that's a pretty cool thing. But some people, they're not so easily satisfied. You take Ann Feinstein over there. She says $25,000 a month. By the time I buy jewelry, what do I have left? But that's the good thing, because you don't have to stop at $25,000 because you got 3 income centers, right? So if you're not satisfied with $25,000 a month, and trust me, I feel your pain. Okay, you come over here, you open up the second income center. You put Mark and Danny and Julio and whatever, you build it down, 200,000, you get 20,000, max it out at 250,000 in volume. You make another $25,000 a month. So now you're up to $50,000 a month residual. You say, hey, that's good, but it's not good enough. You come over here, income center number 3, you open that up, same thing, 50,000 you make $5,000, 200,000 you make $20,000, you max it out at 250,000, that's another 25,000, or add it up for those of you keeping score at home, that's 75,000 hot, nasty bucks. Woo, it's right. Y'all can clap for that, that's okay. That's residual, guys. Now that's big. So you can see this is a big chunk of the kind of money that you can make with Agile. But you haven't seen nothing until you've seen number 8, because this is the biggest innovation. Randy Schrader said it's the biggest innovation he's seen in compensation plans in 20 years, and I couldn't agree with him more. Because this is flat out funk-alicious, people. This is the Agile leverage matching bonus. Now what this is a 25 to 50% matching bonus on whatever the people you introduce, what they make for their leverage matching bonus. Now, if you're here evaluating the business, do not leave tonight until you understand this one. Because if you get this one, you're going to have a hard time sleeping tonight. If you get this one. Because imagine, if you're the kind of person who could put 8 or 12 or 23 people into an opportunity like this. Imagine getting 25 to 50% of whatever they were making in the team volume commission. And see, it doesn't matter if they're your first level, your third level, your fifth level, your 8th level, your 18th level, your 800th level. They never leave your group. It's not like those breakaway programs where they break away. Anybody that you personally sponsored, no matter where they are, anywhere in the structure, you get 25 to 50% of whatever they get in leverage matching bonus. So in the computer, for number 8, it looks like this. Here's you, and then every single person that you introduce to the business, you get 25 to 50%. Once you get to the top levels, you're getting 50%. So if they make $400 this month in team volume, you make $200. If they make $600, you make $300. If they make $1,000, you make $500. You get somebody serious who makes $10,000, you get $5,000. You get somebody like Ivan Cisco who's going to max out an income center soon, $25,000 a month. That's worth $12,500 to you. He gets more serious. He goes all the way to $75,000 a month. That's $37,500. Are you getting this? Are you understand why I got these black circles under my eyes? Here's the $1 million question, kids. How many people do you know who'd want to make $2,000 a month extra with Agile? 12? 22? 62? Because whatever that number is that you could get making $2,000 a month in team volume, that's worth $1,000 a month to you. How many people you know who'd get halfway serious, who want to make 10 grand a month? Say, well, I only know 3 or 4. Well, they'd each be worth $5 grand a month to you. How many people you know, like Eric Worre and Randy Schrader, who would max out 3 income centers in their sleep? Well, I only know 1. That one person is worth $37,500 a month to you. Residual. Guys, this is residual, this is residual, this is residual, this is residual, this is residual. If you've ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you've ever read whatever David Bach, the Die Broke Rich, whatever that thing is called, any Charles Gibbons, if you look at any of the financial planners, what is the mantra they talk about over and over and over is residual income. What Agile Enterprises does is gives you a chance to build walk away residual income. Okay, this is flat out the most lucrative compensation plan you're ever going to see. Because this is what you're making. Remember, all these people you sponsor is 25 to 50%. Right? That's pretty serious money. We got the team volume. That's pretty serious money. We got all these things that are residual. That's pretty serious money. But wait, there's more. We haven't even got to the Ginsu knives yet, because what about these people? You sponsor them into the business, right? You're getting 25 to 50%. What about the people that they introduce to the business? Well, with Agile, you're getting 25 to 50% on those people. The people that they bring in the business, you get 8%. And then the people that they bring in the business, you get 8%. The people they bring in, you get 8%, then 10%, then 10%, then 6%. So we're talking about 25 to 50, then 8, 8, 8, 10, 10, 6. Now, how would this work? If you put 12 people in personally, how many might the 12 turn into on the second level that you get 8%? That'd be 20? Would that be 30? The 30, how many would they turn into? That would be your third generation. Let me tell you how this works real world. See, I sponsored a very dear friend of mine in the business, a guy named Joshua, who's over on the other coast of Florida. I live in Miami Beach. He lives over by Fort Myers, somewhere around there. I sponsored him in the business. He was pretty excited about Agile. He worked it for a season. He worked it a few months, probably about 3 months. He built a nice little income, 5, 6 grand a month. Then he said, I did it. I got my 5, 6 grand a month come in. I got my internet marketing business. I got my direct marketing thing. I got this, I got that. And he's pretty much said, okay, I'm done with it. He's not here this weekend. He doesn't go to the events. He doesn't conduct meetings. He doesn't do phone calls. He did his thing. He worked for a season and he got his 5 grand, 6 grand a month, whatever it is he makes. But he sponsored a guy in Virginia, okay, who sponsored a guy in D.C., who sponsored a guy in Palm Beach named Tim. And then Tim sponsored a guy who's in this room, Randy Van Zell. Where are you? Wait for me. He sponsored Randy Van Zell, who goes to my church in Miami, who I've never met. But Randy, you're on my 5th level? Randy's on my 5th level, so I get 10%. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10% of whatever he makes in team volume. Now, Randy, how many people have you personally introduced to Agile? 9. He sponsored 9 people personally in the business. Now that's my 6th level, so I get 10% on all of those people, right? Now one of those people is also in this room, who's Warren Little. Warren, wave to all the nice people. How many people have you personally sponsored, Warren? 23. 23 that I get 6 hot, nasty % on. Okay? Do you see how this works? You see why I got these bags under my eyes? This is why I say, guys, if you get this, you are going to have a hard time sleeping tonight. This is absolutely the most lucrative compensation plan that's ever been developed in network marketing. We're going to produce the biggest bonus checks that have ever been done in network marketing. And more importantly, we're going to produce more significant bonus checks. People who make $500 and $1,000 and $2,000 and $3,000 and $8,000 a month, which can make a meaningful difference in a lot of people's lives. Now, let's talk about another very important factor, which would be the support structure. If you're evaluating it at this point and you're saying, okay, would they help me? How would I do this? Is the support going to be there? I have to tell you, we have got the strongest support structure you are going to find anywhere. We have our weekly training I told you about. We have regional events. We have national events. We have international events. We have the most powerful recruiting tool which I've ever seen in the industry. Interesting thing, I was speaking to the marketing director of a company over in Russia about a month ago. They've been in business for 23 years. I said, what do your people give a prospect that they want to sponsor into the business? She says, nothing. I said, no, the packet. What is it, like a DVD or a CD or a booklet? What do they give someone they want to sponsor in the business? She says, we just show them the products. I said, you have no recruiting? No, they have no recruiting. They've been in business for 23 years. They're doing about $300 million a year. I can tell you, we have a tool called Choosing Success, which is a 52-page magazine with a 1-hour CD audio in there. It's the most powerful recruiting tool. Companies that are 20, 30 years old do not have as powerful a recruiting tool as this. We've got a 2-step email campaign, which you can use to send out for things. I mean, we just have an extraordinary series of things to support you. We've got the strongest field leadership you will find anywhere. Now, there are a couple people, I asked them to come up, if they could please come to the stage. And you know what, if you'll come up on this side, guys, and someone in the back, please, I'm going to need a handheld microphone, which, if I was clever, I would have thought of this before now, but I didn't. So if you could have someone run out here with a microphone. What I've asked, come on, guys, hurry up now, run, let's take some ohm or something. Thank you very much. I just asked them to take a couple of seconds and come up and share who they are and why they're doing what they're doing. So let's start with this young gentleman right here.
Hey guys, my name is Wesley Anderson. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now, prior to Agile, I was your typical young guy who had worked in about 6 different fields. I'd waited tables, I drove a linen truck, I was a roofer, bagel bakery, paralegal, an intern. I'd kind of done it all and pretty much settled for the fact that I was going to work for the next 45 years of my life, working 60 to 80 hours a week, making about 40 to 60,000 a year, you know. After 9 months with Agile, I was able to walk away from that false reality. After 1 year with Agile, my partner Billy and I earned $20,000 per month residually. I choose Agile's reality.
All right.
My name's Tim Berry, and I'm from Athens, Tennessee. Prior to network marketing, I was a physician. The problem with that was I was working long, unpredictable hours, dealing with high stress, high liability. And the biggest problem was it took me 11 years of training to create a 6-figure income. In Agile, I did it in just over 5 months. Thanks.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Gitit from Israel, lawyer before Agile. Working from sunrise to sunset, thought that I will bring justice to the world. Actually find myself fighting with lawyers all day long about nonsense. My specialize in women rights. Well, since Agile, I find that I can do everything I like to do with people I love, and there is nothing more fun than doing it. And that's the sure way to financial freedom for me and for my dear best friend Hanan. And I invite you to join us tonight. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Tevi and I'm from Australia. And God forbid, I am a restaurant owner. So Randy described perfectly well the stresses and problems that go with running a restaurant. And the other problem I had was that even though the business was successful, I wasn't making the huge income that I was hoping to make. So I thought, I've got a great idea. I'll open a second restaurant. So my partner and I, Brad and I, we opened our second restaurant a year and a half ago. And we basically bought ourselves 2 sets of problems. Anyway, the Agile opportunity was introduced to us, and we thought, wow, yes, this is it. We weren't quite sure how we were going to get out of that rat race that Randy was talking about. We saw a funky little product, brand new to the market, an amazing compensation plan, and we knew this was it. So in the last 6 months, I've had a fantastic time, probably the best 6 months of my life. And we've earned just over $60,000. So thank you, Agile.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Juanetta Harvey-Gill, and my husband Jason and I live in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We've been involved with Agile now for about 9 months. My background is in the mortgage industry, and Jason works in the real estate industry. And we make a really successful 6-figure income, about $400,000 a year. However, some may consider that successful, but we work 60, 70 hours a week. Jason commutes 4 hours a day into New York City. And the bottom line is we have hardly any time for family, friends, and not even ourselves. So when we saw Agile, we saw an opportunity to take control of our life, our time back, as well as an opportunity to replace our 6-figure yearly income on a monthly basis. So we're excited. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Here, give that to her, please.
Hello, my name is Sarah Zalecki, and my husband Tony and I make our home in Sacramento, California. Prior to Agile, I was a corporate recruiter for a large accounting firm. Loved working with people, but I was exhausted from company politics and being micromanaged. Now because of Agile, Tony and I, we get to work together every day. We get to travel across the country. We get to choose the people we want to work with, and we really get to help people become successful. And what's incredible is because of a simple system and an incredible team of people, June of this year, we were able to reach the level of corporate director and make over $23,000.
All right. Thanks, son. Thanks, sir.
Hi, my name is Ivan Cisco. I make my home in Nova Scotia, Canada. My background is that of a school teacher. Been involved in this industry for a short time. Today I get to wake up when I'm done sleeping. I get to spend time with the people that I care about the most. Travel when I choose to, but most importantly, what I was able to do when I was teaching, I was able to help people. And I'm able to help people every day with this incredible business. So thank you very much.
All right.
Hello, my name is Melanie Mills from Indianapolis, Indiana. Prior to Agile, I made my living as a corporate trainer and a professional speaker for 14 years. I absolutely loved my work, but the only problem is I was the sole proprietor in my business. And if I wasn't working, I wasn't getting paid. What Agile has brought to me is I have personally sponsored 25 people who have turned into a network of 547 good people doing good work in the world.
Thank you.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? Great. My name is Antonio Adair. I make my home in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Prior to the industry of network marketing, I used to be a delivery supervisor for the post office in Washington, D.C., working 60 and 70 hours a week. I was $25,000 in credit card debt. You name the creditor, I owed them. I had a nice Lexus, shiny rims on it, no insurance. I had the student loan mafia chasing me everywhere, and so I had to get involved with this industry of network marketing. And so really, really blessed with previous years that I've been involved with the industry and previous companies that I was with. I had to go out and, every first of the month, I had to go build my check from 0 to 30 to 40,000 a month. And what I love about this opportunity is just the power of consumption. Within the last 10 months, we've built an income upwards of over 23 to 25,000 a month in that very short period of time. And it took me 5 to 6 years to do that in a previous company. So that's why I Agile. God bless.
All right. All right. In just a couple of minutes, I'm going to turn you over to our next segment of the program. We're really 3-part presentation tonight. This part where I want you to just give you an overview of the business. Then we're going to go to break in a couple of minutes, and it's going to be your chance to kind of circle up with the people, the person who invited you, get your questions answered, get a drink of water, find out what you need to know, and then hurry back in here for the third section, because you will hear from two of the most extraordinary couples who have ever reached success in this business. And I'm talking about people who have made millions and millions of dollars. But before I send you there, a couple of other things that I would like you to think about. Positioning is the first one. See, guys, being on the left side versus being on the right side, trust me, this could make a very large difference in your income. The fact is, you get paid team volume on the people where they are in your organization. So I want you to get all your questions answered. I want you to find out everything you need to know to find out. But once you know that this is right for you, don't wait a second. Grab your credit card and give it to the person who invited you and tell them, lock me in a spot. Because the difference between joining on a Monday and joining on a Wednesday, believe it or not, could be tens of thousands of dollars. Okay? So now if you're here tonight as a guest and you know that this person who invited you has 4 or 5 other guests here, you might want to do, is that a Goodyear blimp? Here, take my credit card. Okay? Just, whatever you got to do. What I want you to understand is positioning is important. The other thing I want you to think about is timing. Because we are in this special magic moment when what I would call legacy positions are created. What do I mean by legacy position? I mean, you have a spot here in an organization. You've got some leaders here underneath you. The leaders are trained. There's a system in place. And it's just going on. And it gets to a point where you no longer become necessary to the growth of the organization. In fact, a meteorite could land on you, kill you, and it would throw off residual income to whoever you willed it to the rest of your life. Take Randy was a perfect example, had some personal challenges he needed to take care of. 4 months, he's out of the business. He earned $250,000 during those 4 months. Your income you can vest this income. You can will this distributorship. So I want you to understand, legacy positions aren't created when a company's 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old. These legacy positions are created in the first couple years of a company's growth. And guys, we launched at the end of October here. We're 1 year into it in the States, a couple of months ago in Canada, 6 months ago in Australia, New Zealand, and about 30 other countries that we haven't even done the launch. We're still in pre-launch operations. This is what's on the table. How does this work real world, by the way? Just so you know, here's how it can work for you. I sponsored 80 people into the business, okay? So I've done this seriously. I've done this, I didn't play around with this. I knew what was on the table here. I sponsored 80 people in the business. Now, I should be right up front and tell you, of those 80, probably 40 immediately went into the witness protection program. Okay? They sponsored it on a Monday. By Tuesday, they changed their phone, their email. They moved to Phoenix. They got plastic surgery. They were never heard from again. Okay? But that left me about 40. Now, about 25 of those 40, they did just what we're talking about tonight. They're working their 10 or 15 hours a week. They're following the system. They got their check coming up, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month. 25 people or so. Then I got about 15. They got serious. They're already regional director, senior director, corporate director, double diamond director. Okay? So what has happened is those 80 people, and of course I also have Eric Warriors, my sponsor, so I've got a good potential for spillover with a guy like that, wouldn't you say? Those 80 people have now turned into, as of today, about 12,400 people. So this month, we just ended, I thought I'd look it up. Here's what happened for me. Of course, I did what I just told you about. Now, of course, I get $2,000 a month in expense allowance. That's residual. I get $2,000 a month in car fund. That's residual. The travel fund is residual. I don't know how much. much. I just know I'm going to Hawaii for free. Okay? Team volume commission, I did what I told you. I maxed out the first income center. I get $25,000 for that last month. That's residual. The next income center I opened, I did $120-some thousand in income in that income center. So I made another $12,000 for team volume. So I got 25 plus 12. I made over $37,000 in team volume in residual. Now, leverage matching bonus, I'm getting in my level, I'm getting 45% of all those 80 people, whatever they make for team volume. Well, for team volume commission for last month, I made over $44,000. So, if with all said and done, if I forget about retail profits, forget about fast start commission, forget about executive bonus, this month I'm going to get paid over $85,000 in residual income. Guys, this is the real deal. This is that time, that extraordinary time with all those factors, this perfect storm of opportunity, the management team, the field leadership, the product line, the compensation plan, the factors going on in the world today have come together to make this magic moment where Agile Enterprises can set you up with a dream lifestyle the rest of your life. The legacy positions are on the table right now. The positioning is on the table right now. Please, don't miss it. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.